Do you remember when someone asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? It was one of the easiest questions in the world. Astronaut, writer, teacher, dancer, explorer, artist, scientist. It almost didn't matter what the answer was because as children, we believed life was something to explore. Now imagine somebody asking you the same question today. What do you want? Not what do you do, not what's your next promotion, not what's on your to do list. What do you want? For many adults, that question feels surprisingly difficult, not because they don't have dreams, because they haven't visited them in a very, very long time. Somewhere between deadlines, responsibilities, mortgages, raising children, meeting expectations, and simply trying to keep life together, many of us quietly stopped dreaming. Not overnight, one practical decision at a time. We told ourselves, I'll do it when things settle down, when I have more money, when the children grow up, when the work becomes less stressful, when life slows down. But have you noticed? Life rarely slows down. It simply gives us a new reason to postpone ourselves. I don't think adults stop dreaming because they become realistic. I think they stop dreaming because they become protective. And those two are very different things. Protection asks, how do I make sure nothing goes wrong? And a dream asks, what else is possible? The problem is your brain naturally prefers the first question. Modern neuroscience tells us that our brains are designed to reduce uncertainty. From an evolutionary perspective, certainty kept us alive. If our ancestors ignored danger, they didn't survive. So, your brain isn't trying to make you extraordinary, it's trying to make sure that you stay safe. And that's beautiful. Nothing is wrong with that. It is one of the reasons that we are here today. But here's the challenge: the same brain that protects your life can also accidentally make your life smaller. Think about the last decision you postponed. Maybe it wasn't a huge dream. Maybe it was something simple: taking a course, learning an instrument, starting a side project, changing careers, painting, writing, joining a dance class, having an honest conversation. What stopped you? Was it really lack of time or money? Or was it uncertainty? After studying yoga for over 14 years, I've come to appreciate something extraordinary. Yoga isn't only interested in how we suffer, it's deeply interested in why we cling to what is familiar. Patanjali describes one of the deepest human tendencies as Abhinivesha. It is often translated as fear of death. But many teachers also describe it as our tendency to hold tightly to what feels known, even when what is known no longer helps us grow. Think about it. How often do we stay in familiar routines? Not because they make us happy, but because they make us feel predictable. Or, if I have to use a different word, comfortable. We often mistake familiarity for safety, but they are not the same thing. A relationship can be familiar and still make you feel smaller. A job can be familiar and still drain your spirit. A way of thinking can be familiar and still keep you from becoming who you are capable of becoming. I wonder if that is why children seem so alive. They are not trying to protect an identity. They don't worry about looking foolish. They don't ask, what will people think? Log kya kahenge? They ask, what happens if I try? Curiosity leads, fear follows. Somewhere along the way, those roles reversed. Fear began leading, and curiosity started asking permission. One of the most beautiful findings in positive psychology is that hope isn't simply optimism. Hope is the belief that the future can be different from the present. And we have some role in creating it. When people have hope, they become more resilient, more creative, more resourceful. But I don't like using the word hope. I would call it faith. When you have faith, You become more resilient, more creative, and more resourceful. Not because life becomes easier, but because you stop believing that today is the only version of tomorrow. I think dreams work in a similar way. A dream isn't simply a destination, it's a direction. It quietly changes how you walk through today. The person who dreams of writing starts noticing stories everywhere. The person who dreams of traveling becomes curious about the world. The person who dreams of creating starts seeing possibilities instead of limitations. The dream changes the present long before it creates the future. Neuroscience calls it RAS, or reticular activating system. Our brain shows us what we are dreaming about. Think about it. You want to buy a car, and suddenly that is the only car that you see on the road. Magic? I don't think so. Can I offer you a small practice? Not a vision board, not a 5 year plan, just one honest question. Tonight, before you go to bed, ask yourself, if fear was not making this decision, what would curiosity choose? Don't answer immediately, sit with it. Let your body respond before your mind starts negotiating. Because your first answer is often the one that comes from aliveness. The second usually comes from protection. I've realized something over the years. Very few people regret trying, but many people regret waiting. Waiting until they felt ready, waiting until they felt confident, waiting until they had certainty. But certainty is a moving target. If you wait until you feel completely ready, you'll spend your life preparing instead of living. I don't think dreams disappear. I think they become quieter. They wait patiently. Every time you choose curiosity, they speak a little louder. Every time you choose fear, they become a little softer. Until one day, you either begin living them or begin wondering what might have happened if you had. This is not about quitting your job tomorrow or making reckless decisions. It's about asking yourself a different question. Not what is the safest choice, but which choice helps me become more alive? Because that's the question I've been asking myself more and more. Not will this make me more successful? Not will people approve? Simply, will it make me feel more? And surprisingly, that question has changed far more than my career. It has changed the way I travel, the conversations I choose to engage in, the books I read, the people I spend time with, the risks I'm willing to take, the dreams I'm finally willing to admit, even to myself. I don't believe that we are here simply to build a comfortable life. Comfort has its place. We all need rest. We all need stability and security. But comfort was never meant to become a permanent address. It was meant to be a place to visit before stepping back into life. Maybe that's what limitlessness really means. Not having endless success, not achieving everything, but refusing to let fear become the architect of your life. Choosing curiosity a little more than comfort. Choosing possibility a little more than protection. Choosing life a little more than certainty. So I want to leave you with one question. What dream have you been protecting yourself from? And what comfort is it giving you? Not because you don't want it, but because wanting it would require you to believe that more is possible. Sit with that. Because your answer might just be the beginning of your next chapter. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this conversation resonated with you, I would love to hear from you in the comments. What's one dream that you have been postponing? Not because you don't want it, but because you've been waiting to feel ready. Let's encourage each other to take one small step towards a bigger life. If you would like to continue this journey with me, I would like to invite you to my masterclass where we explore emotional capacity, the body, the voice, and how to move from protection to possibility so you can build a life that feels expansive, that feels meaningful, and deeply alive. I'll leave a link below in the description below. And if you want to even connect with me one on one, there'll be a link for that also. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle is the same, Shape Spice, SHAPESPICE. Until next time, take care of your body, trust your voice, stay curious, and don't let comfort quietly become the boundary of your life. Thank you for listening in to me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.